first I'm going to make the koftas out of the Doodhi. That's what the Doodhi looks like once it's cut open and then it's been grated. So I've got 250 grams of Doodhi there. Into that I'm going to be putting the ginger, garlic, crushed chilies, the turmeric, salt and a tiny bit of sugar. I'm going to be mixing that and then I'll be putting the gram flour in there to form like a loose dough, and I'll be making koftas out of that. But before I can do anything with the Doodhi is, again, I mentioned earlier, it's a spongy texture. It's been grated, but it does have a lot of water in it sometimes, but it depends, you know, you might come across one that hasn't got a lot of water, and it's best to squeeze out the excess water, otherwise your dough is going to be very loose. This has got a moderate amount of water, and the other thing I wanted to point out was this is the last thing you do, because while Doodhi is standing it starts to brown, which this is already started to do. So I'm just squeezing the excess water out of there. Okay, that's all the water squeezed out of it. Put that away on one side. And to this I'm going to add half a teaspoon of crushed ginger. That's about that much. Half a teaspoon of crushed garlic. Again, this is personal preference. If you do want more of this, you can put some more in. And half a teaspoon of chili powder, half a teaspoon of salt, or is it the salt? We probably, half a teaspoon would be fine. Then for the colouring, half a teaspoon of turmeric and a tiny bit of sugar to bring the taste out. Now I'm going to mix this before I add the gram flour to it, and as you mix it does bring up, turns it more watery, because there is a lot of water content in the Doodhi. Mix the spices quite well in the grated Doodhi. To that I'm going to add the gram flour, and that should form a nice dough without having to add any water or anything. Mix that till it's, you know, there's no dry bits left and it's all blended in quite nicely with the grated Doodhi. It sort of does tend to stick to your hands quite a bit, but before you start shaping the koftas is always a good idea to wash your hands, so it you know, your koftas would be more rounder. It always helps to have a little bit of water on your hands to that helps make the koftas a bit smoother, and just make them into an oval shape like this there, and get them ready there. And these are all going to be done in a very shallow, a tiny base of oil, cooked gently before I put them in the sauce. Once the koftas are formed, this is what they look like, and I've got 1 tablespoon of cooking oil in the pan, and I don't have to wait for them to start heating. I'm going to start putting the koftas into the oil, but one thing I do want to point out is the koftas, when you're making the koftas, it's best not to leave the grated Doodhi with the gram flour too long, otherwise once you put the salt and all the ingredients, it starts extracting the juices and the dough will start getting loose. So it's best to sort of do it straight away and start putting this in the oil in the pan. And it's on a very low heat, and I'll increase the heat once all the koftas are in there. I'm putting the heat up slightly. It's still on medium heat, not too much. And you know, I'm going to cover it and then turn it after a couple of minutes. Right, the koftas have been in there about 2 minutes, and I'm just going to check that they've started browning. What it also does is seals it. So they have started getting golden brown, so I am going to turn them. Yeah, I mean, with the thing, with the dough, the dough had gone slightly runny because obviously with filming it as well, you're waiting for the camera adjustments as well. But it's fine, it's browning quite nicely at the bottom, all of them. And it's when I mean, I've said 2 minutes, but it could take longer, and I'm saying on medium heat. But you could sort of, as soon as it browns and it kind of seals it, it's ready to turn. So these are all ready to turn now. Now I'm ready to turn the other side. As you can see, they've gone lovely, nice golden brown there. The heat is still on medium. Turned it a bit low while I'm turning this. And they're kind of sealed now, and they're cooked. So now what I'm going to do is turn the heat off after I've turned all of them, and leave them covered so it cooks in its own steam for a bit. And now after that they're ready to go in the sauce, and I'll start preparing the sauce after this.